and she's written a new book called Meet the Hybrids. Welcome to Beyond Belief, Barbara Lamb. How did you get involved in this?
Well, by 1991, people started coming to me who wanted to do regressions to very unusual experiences that they had had in this life. And these turned out to be extraterrestrial. With the 8 hybrids whom my co-author and I extensively interviewed for Meet the Hybrids book, they all had this common pattern that they did not know until they were adults that they were hybrids, but they all felt really different from anybody else they knew. And mantis beings are involved
I don't like them.
You're what the French call les incompétents.
What?
Les incompétents.
Are involved
I
with.
don't like them.
Oh, the mantis beings.
They don't look.
Well, you know, they look like big bugs.
Yeah.
They're very tall, very bug-looking, but they are wonderful. Any experience that I've had regressing people to their encounters where they've been involved with mantis beings, they always experience the mantis beings as being extremely kindly,
Really?
loving, intelligent.
So there you have it. The next time you meet somebody who might be a little different, maybe a little strange, you could be meeting a human hybrid.
Looking out in the helicopter, you really get an idea of how Ben Ipa can stay glued to that board. Wide stance, completely buried in the white water. And oh, boy, that's unbelievable how Ben stayed on his board through that section of white water and still hanging on.
Something is always happening. But when it happens, people don't always see it, or understand it, or accept it.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst
just wanted to tell you something. You have been watching all these videos for 11 years. Hello. You have been watching all these videos for 11 years. You have been watching all these videos for 11 years. Connecting dots will help you connect the dots, we hope you understand what's going on in this world. But still, there are very simple things that you're still struggling with. Very simple things. For example, when we show you people who you believe are on the other side, serving the other side, but actually are serving this side, the cause. And we published plenty of videos showing those kind of people. But you're not understanding, you know? It's kind of confusing. So let me explain this to you, or try to. Imagine you are a spy. Okay? Choose a country, it doesn't matter. Choose a country. Let's say you are a Chinese spy. You, listening to me right now, you're a Chinese spy. And you work for the Chinese government. And as a spy, you are sent to the United States to spy on American companies, American government, American people, American journalists. Choose, doesn't matter. You're a Chinese spy sent to America to spy on American interests. What are you going to do when you arrive there? Do you think you're gonna wave a Chinese flag and say, I'm a Chinese spy? No. You are going to adapt to your new environment. You're gonna do what an American does. You're gonna eat what an American does. You're gonna mesh into the society, be a shadow. Hopefully, even less than a shadow, because a shadow can be seen. You're not supposed to be seen. Obviously, you want to be under the radar. You don't want to be noticed. And once you're there, living in that society, either be a Chinese spy in America, or a South African spy in Venezuela, or a Argentinian spy in France, or a French spy in Germany, or a German spy in Afghanistan, you will be noticed, but you want to adapt. You want to be accepted. You want to be a part of that society. But I'll give you an example. American President Ronald Reagan.
I've been collecting stories that are told in the Soviet Union by their people among themselves, which reveal they've got a great sense of humor, but they've also got a pretty cynical attitude toward their system. And I told this one, Bill, you'll have to hear it again. I told it in the car. I didn't tell this one to Gorbachev. You know, there's a 10-year delay in the Soviet Union of delivery of an automobile. And only 1 out of 7 families in the Soviet Union own automobiles. There's a 10-year wait. And you go through quite a process when you're ready to buy, and then you put up the money in advance. And this happened to a fella, and this is their story that they tell, this joke. That this man, he laid down his money, and then the fella that was in charge said to him, okay, come back in 10 years and get your car. And he said, morning or afternoon? And the fellow behind the counter said, well, 10 years from now, what difference does it make? And he said, well, the plumber's coming in the morning.
He worked for the cause. He served the cause well. Not only he worked for the cause, he was a 72 as a president. After JFK, he was the next president we had, serving the cause. the difference between JFK and Ronald Reagan is very big. JFK was born onto the other side, and we brought him with the help of Marilyn Monroe to our side. Ronald Reagan, it's a different story. He was with us from the beginning, just playing a role. Remember, he was an actor. And many people say to me, oh, but he said so many things bad against Russia, and this against Russia, and this and that. No, he didn't. He said and did what he had to do. He did and said what he was told to do. Remember, at that time Russia was part of a bigger empire called USSR. America is flesh hybrids, and at that time the USSR were flesh hybrids. We had to destroy the USSR in order to bring Russia back. Understand the difference? The USSR was an empire of flesh hybrids related to the American flesh hybrids. We had to destroy the USSR in order to get Russia ready for the 2017-2022 period. This was Ronald Reagan's mission. And he almost destroyed America in order to destroy the USSR. They spent more and more and more until they went bankrupt, which led to the end of the USSR. But this was all planned. We wanted the USSR to end. That's why we had the American president on our side to push the financial point to it. Because of this, the USSR ended. And for a good 10 years, almost, it was a disaster. Russia, not USSR anymore, but Russia, was run by the mafia, the oligarchs, everybody. But we had been prepared, Daniel, for a long time, to become the president of Russia. And in 1999, he did. After that, and for a few years, he pretended to be who he was not. And here we are now. Here we are now, these days. And when I said that Daniel pretended to be who he was not, what do you mean? What do I mean? Well, he made it all friendly with the Americans. Because America wished that Daniel was a sober Boris Yeltsin, because Boris Yeltsin was an alcoholic, and America could do anything they wanted from him, you know, like bank loans to keep the Russian economy up. They could get anything they want from Boris Yeltsin. That's why Russia was a disaster. And when finally Daniel Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin took over, Americans thought he another Yeltsin, another Boris Yeltsin, just a sober one. But they didn't know that we had been preparing Daniel for many years to get to that place. And for a few years, Daniel played friendly to the American blush. They didn't know who he was, but he played friendly. That gave time, enough time, for Russia to start rebuilding the country, the infrastructures, the economy, and especially the military. Because there was nothing like that. Everything was a disaster. Look at it now. Look at Russia now. think. It's very important to think. And this has not been from now. This has been from the beginning. Let me give you an example. For example, when we show you people who you believe are on the other side, serving the other side, but actually are serving this side.
Как считают в Вашингтоне, это позволит окончательно переформатировать Латинскую Америку в полностью подконтрольную Соединенным Штатам географическую зону. В отношении Венесуэлы уже предпринимаются конкретные шаги по дестабилизации внутриполитической обстановки в стране посредством консолидации оппозиционных сил, организации с их помощью масштабных протестных акций и, что самое главное, развязывание против республики гибридной агрессии. Что самое главное, развязывание против республики гибридной агрессии.
there, welcome to Talking Europe on France 24. I'm Catherine Nicholson. Today we're focusing on Estonia, a country that may be small but one that punches above its weight in many ways. The Baltic nation of just 1.3 million people has more than turned its economy around since gaining independence from the Soviet Union in 1991. Since joining the European Union and NATO at the same time in 2004, Estonians have consistently scored among the more Euro-friendly EU members, and Estonia is seen as one of the most successful of the bloc's newest members on the economic front. I'm very pleased to speak today to Estonia's President, Kersti Kaljulaid, who's just passed the baton of the EU presidency to Bulgaria and who is also about to kick off a year-long party of sorts to celebrate 100 years since Estonia became an independent republic. President Kaljulaid, thank you very much for being with us.
Hello.
Hi there. Now, let's start on that celebratory note. It has been a tumultuous century for Estonia. Annexation by the USSR, German invasion during World War II, back under Soviet rule until 1991, and then, as I said, entry into the EU and later in NATO just 2004. How would you characterise your country, Estonia, on its 100th birthday?
The German Chancellor has accused Russia of standing in the way of Eastern European countries who want to be close to the EU. In an interview with the German newspaper Die Welt on Sunday, Angela Merkel threatened consequences for what she called Moscow's violation of Ukraine's territorial integrity.
know, we're sitting here, you and I, like a couple of regular fellas. I mean, you do what you do, I do what I gotta do. And now that we've been face to face, if I'm there and I gotta put you away, I won't like it. But I'll tell you, if it's between you and some poor bastard whose wife you're gonna turn into a widow, brother, you are going down.
There's a flip side to that coin. What if you do got me boxed in? Then I gotta put you down. Because no matter what, you will not get in my way. We've been face to face, yeah. But I will not hesitate. Not for a second.
Maybe that's the way it'll be. Or, who knows?
Well, maybe we'll never see each other again.
Christmas market terror in Berlin. And for the first time right here tonight, we're seeing videos showing the moment the truck barreled into that market, killing 11 people. Right here tonight, we're seeing videos showing the moment the truck barreled into that market, killing 11 people.
شايف البوس هذا لا تجرحها يا الله لا هون في قتلة ها في قتلة هناك يا بلد محمد ليك يبا معلش يا مهندس حسن والله ايه هناك الدنيا بس شو السرعة هذه اللي كان ماشي فيها عقل الشرموطة
And you know the way I give.